everybody, my name is Don Dawson, and as the months get closer to another year and the air gets a little bit colder, there's something that folks in Louisiana love to do, and that's deep fry a bird. Now, traditionally, a lot of folks like to bake a bird like this, about 4.5 hours. But what we're going to do today is something a little bit different, and we're going to deep fry a turkey. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, and you're going to become an expert at it, I guarantee. Now, all you doubting Thomases out there think you can't do this. Believe me, you're going to love this. It's going to be the most tastiest, succulent bird you've ever had. Look at our bird here. We usually have about an 8 to 10 pounder. 8 to 10 pounds is about the largest size bird you really want to go with, because anything bigger, it's going to take a lot longer to cook from the inside out. And I'll explain that later as we get into the oil process. So here's our bird, good 10 pounder. We're going to take care of him with some spices and inject him with some marinades a little bit later on. But right now, what do you say we take a look at our equipment and our setup and everything we need to do it. And here's all we need. Now, mind you, this is not an oven, or this is not a convection oven. What we have here is just a typical, I would say this is about a 7-gallon aluminum pot. We have a propane burner, a hose connect, which goes to our propane bottle, and all the regulators and knobs are over there. Out here, this is what we're going to be using. This is 5 gallons of peanut oil, and you can use basically any oil you want out there, from canola to vegetable oil. But for what I found, and what other people have told me, that the way to get the best tasting turkey possible is using peanut oil. It does have a higher flash point for safety purposes, and you just get a whole lot more flavor because the oil itself is a whole lot more denser than, say, your typical vegetable oil or canola oil. Now, I have used canola oil, and the flavor was okay, but going back to peanut oil, one taste, that crispy skin going in your mouth, you swear by peanut oil each and every time. Okay, we've seen the setup, you've seen our turkey, we've got our chairs set up, we've got our tables. Good idea to grab something cold to drink, whatever you might be drinking. Go ahead and get yourself another one. Sit back, relax, and let yourself become a deep fried turkey expert, I guarantee. Come on with me. But before we get to shooting up our bird, here's a good little trick for you first-timers. We're going to learn about the displacement of your turkey versus the oil. What I've done here is filled this pot up with water, and I'm going to simulate or try to recreate just how much oil I'm going to need to put in there. A lot of kits you'll get 5 gallons worth of peanut oil. Sometimes you can get more. But using water first time give you a pretty good idea of how you're going to do each and every bird. And you'll get the hang of it. You start with smaller birds, you'll need less oil. Smaller birds, you might need more oil. Bigger birds, you're going to need less oil because of the displacement. I'll show you. Fill it up with water. I'm going to put everything in the pot that I'm going to use to fry this bird. And this kit includes a nice little stand with a rod through it. Now, put my bird in. It's a good idea, too, to keep the bird in this plastic case, but in this case, it's okay. We're just giving the turkey a pretty good bath here. Put my bird in. Got a pretty good idea. Looks like I'm going to need just a little bit more, because I want to make sure. Remember, I'm pretending this is oil. I want to make sure it's going to cover that up pretty good. And that's pretty good. Now, where's my mark point? Drain it all out. Set our bird over there. Now that's how much oil I'm going to need. All right, we've got our displacement all taken care of, so you should by now have a pretty good idea of how much oil you're going to put in your pot. We're going to get ready to, well, it's the secret of making deep fried turkeys. We're going to marinate him from the inside out. Now, you get your bird, you want to make sure you get your gravy packets out of there, your giblet packets, and your neck. I like to keep the neck. I'll explain that later because we're going to eat him too. It's a little snack for us. It's going to come out early. And of course, this little plastic part here that the processors put in when they're processing the turkeys. Want to make sure that goes, because you can't eat that. All right, pat them down. We don't have to pat them down too much. I want to leave a little bit of moisture on there. Now, let's get to shooting up this bird. When I say shooting up this bird, get yourself a chair, get all nice and comfy, and get relaxed. We're going to need a bowl. You're going to need one of these. This is a meat injector. holds about 1 ounce of injectables. I have my seasonings. I'm using Tony Chachere's today. You can use any old Cajun spice, any Cajun seasoning. Even go the McCormick brand or just go the generic brand. It's all the same. Now, this is the most important part. Now, there's a lot of different marinades out there. A lot of folks like to use Italian salad dressing, concentrated onion, garlic juice, spices, butter. We're going to go a different route. We're going to go the instant method. And I guarantee you this is not only, I think, better, but it's quicker and you get a whole lot more done faster. Other marinades usually take overnight. This is going to marinate for about, well, minimum 5 minutes. You can marinate, let it go for even overnight if you had to, but we're going to go with that. Because it's mild, and we're going authentic here, I'm going to jack it up a little bit, a little crystal hot sauce. This may be a little tough for you to find, but you can find this stuff. This is Zatarain's concentrated shrimp and crab oil. Some people like to use Old Bay in there too. Nothing wrong with that. Let's get started. Shake up our jar. Now you're going to be amazed just how fast this comes together. Now mind you, you want to experiment a little bit. Get a little taste here. Find out where you're at. Needs a little work. A little hot sauce. Again, experimentation is the key. This stuff, only because I've used it about 1,000,000 times, I'm going to put, just a... That's concentrated bay leaf, oregano oil, lovely stuff. We'll stir things around. Get a little taste. Right there. Right there. All right, let's get to shooting up our bird. We want to go all over this bird. I'm even going to start on the back first. I like getting the back first for some reason because I do. You want to fill up your injector. Make sure everything's tight. Fill up your injector. Don't have to fill it up all the way. We want to get in here as much as you can. Now, and the less holes you make in this bird, the better. Just start finding places to go. Don't need too much in the back because there's not much meat here to penetrate into. I'm only going to shoot them up once or twice in the back here, only because I like it like that. That season's going to run all the way down. All right. A lot of people don't normally do that. They think it's a waste of time. I don't. All right. Here's the most important part. Getting that breast meat. I want to make one injection site. I'm going to come down into the breast and push about all of that. I'm going to stick my finger on there because some of it will run out. Now if you can do this like I'm doing, you get the hang of this. Go back into your original injection site hole there. Come back down this side of the breast. And you can see it swells up real nice. Keep your finger on it for just about a second. Alright. Same with the other breast. Again, find our little hole. Come down this side of the breast. See, she swells up real nice. See, we're marinating the bird inside. The flavors are going to cook from the inside out. Legs. Usually one. Working into another little site. Okay. Try to get as much as you can in here. The leg, go right about this point here. Pull it up, push it down, pull it up. It's alright if it sprays out. It's not going anywhere. Gotta get that thigh meat now. Try to get that air out of there. Oh, look at me, I'm a doctor. Okay, down you grab your thigh, get a good feel on it with 2 fingers. Don't stick yourself. There you go, right so you can feel it going in. getting the thigh meat. Get one side, you work one side, you work the other. Equal amounts. Equal amounts. Equal amounts. Again, use your thumb, forefinger, get a good feel of where the meat is. Go right on into it. And yeah, you can see it swell up real nice. Alright, we're going to turn it around. We're going to do our wings. Some people don't do the wings. I like to do the wings. They swell up real nice. The wing, one site, that's all we need, one little injection site. Pulling it, pushing it, there we go. Now, get up in these shoulders. Here's the shoulder right up in here, just on the top of them. I like to go right straight down into that. This injector's not working for me today. Why is it not working? Again, maybe another one. Might be time for another injector. Hold that thought. Good to have a couple extra of these lying around, I'll tell you. Lo and behold. You can get these injectors all over the place. Now we're talking. I'll get back up in here. There we go. Good penetration. Good penetration is what we want. Okay, we've got the breast, the shoulders, the wings, the legs, we've got the thighs. And here's where you can kind of get creative. You can kind of go up underneath here. You can, what I like to do is just spray it. Spray the inside. Maybe one or two shots of that. And because we like to marinate from the inside out too, and the inside too. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, I can't think of anywhere else we didn't shoot him up enough. But like I said, good to get creative. Maybe underneath the breast here a little bit. Oh yeah, see that? There, yeah, that's what we want. See how that tightened up there? One more on this side. Yeah, see how tight that is? That's what you're looking for. Alright, just got a little bit left. My marinade. Maybe a little bit more in the legs. Again, find the original injection site. Oh, there we go. One more. And we're ready to put our dry rub on. Where's my hole? Find your hole and find somewhere else to go with it. Ah, so look at that. That's swell up real nice. Put your finger on. See how it comes out like that? Put your finger on it like that. Give it a shake. Alright. Okay. Let's clean up here just a second. Let's get rid of the dry rubber. I'm using Cajun Shake. You can get this just about anywhere. Now remember I saved this? I saved it for a reason. We're going to marinate him. And we're going to put him in there with the bird. But that's going to cook first. We'll get to eat that. Alright, let's try a little dry rub here. Now, you can go as liberal or as light or as heavy. I've seen them sometimes, so these guys will just, and they really cake it up. You are going to lose about 50% of your spice on the birds. Don't worry about that. It's really all to taste, and again, experimentation is the key. I like to start on the bottom of the bird. Now, good idea here first. Let's clean out the bottom of our pan real quick. Just takes a second. Got a lot of stuff going here. It's all right. There we go. Not too much there. Okay. Let's throw in some spice. As much as little as you like. Much or as little as you like. Really, you just want a good little coating. You don't have to push it in the bird. The bird's still a little wet on the outside, which is good. Seasoning's going to adhere to it. Okay. I like to keep the Pope's nose on there too. Alright, turn them over. Don't worry if you make a mess, it's quite alright. And of course the inside of the bird. A little or as much as you want. Okay. We have our stand. Good idea to put it on now, because we're getting close to ignition time. And that bird is ready for frying. And you just gotta have some good Cajun Zydeco music to go with this too. All right, we're halfway home. You're still with me. That's a good sign. That means you're halfway home to the best tasting deep fried turkey you've ever had in your life. You're gonna kiss that 4-hour bird that's sitting in the oven goodbye forever. Quick recap before we get going here. We've had a look at our equipment. Pot, burner, propane, peanut oil. A lot of folks like to use a basket. This is one of my personal favorites. You can also do seafood in here too, but that's another story we'll get to. Okay. Before we put our oil in the pot, how long are we gonna cook this bird? There are a couple different ways to do it. A good rule of thumb is 3.5 minutes for every pound of bird you have. This is an 11-pound bird. Using my trusty calculator here, 11 times 3.5 tells me we're going to cook this bird for 38.5 minutes. And for safety reasons, always add an extra 5 minutes to that. So that means 38.5 plus an extra 5. We're going to cook him roughly 45 minutes. Good to have a little stopwatch too, or a clock, because you want to know exactly the precise time you put that bird in the oil. Let's get going. All right, you ready? You ready to do this? Let's get going. Peanut oil. It's a good idea as well if you're going to do this in the garage. Have a good board or a good barbecue mat, because I can tell you oil and concrete don't mix. It's hard to get out. Let's get going here. Now I'll bet you this is going to take all that oil. And it surely did. Now, if we need a little bit more oil, I have some more oil in the basement. That's a pretty good point. We're about 6 to 8 inches. Again, when you're working with oil, this is going to rise about a ½ inch. So that's going to be exactly where we want to be. Let's get our burner going. And by the way, it's a good idea to have a good fire extinguisher nearby. Safety first with this. If you're going to do a party, a large gathering, first things first, kids they have to stay back 30 feet. You don't want balls and footballs or anything, Nerf balls flying into your oil. Safety, safety first. And if you're going to do this on your own for friends, make them stand back as well. This is your area, your perimeter, this is your kitchen. You're making it happen for them. You don't want any accidents. All right, enough said. Let's turn on our gas and get going here. Good idea to have one of these. You don't want to be throwing a match in here. Okay, our fire's going here. It's a pretty important part too, is regulating your fire. Again, if you do this once or twice, you'll get the hang of it, no problem at all. Usually start it not full. Let's try full. See that's full? Yeah, hot air balloon time. Let's back that down just a little bit. That's good for now. Okay. Put on our oil. Now what I like to do too is have a look underneath. top of my blue flame here, so I want to back that down. Backing that down. Good, even blue heat. Now bubbling you hear, that's water droplets from inside the pot from when we did our displacement with the water. Don't let that worry you. Now generally, 5 gallons of peanut oil will take about 20 minutes to heat up. So that means it's time to go get something else to drink, wouldn't you say? I would. All right, we got our oil going here. Now you'll probably see a little black sediment in this oil. This is previously used oil. Good little point I can make here. This oil can be used for about another 10 birds, and I mean that seriously when I say that. After you let your oil cool, we'll get to that part a little bit later. You don't really have to strain it out. As long as you can see through it, it's clear, it's not coffee black, you're going to have good viscosity and good cooking oil. So don't worry about that stuff. A lot of people, they like to filter out the oil to get that stuff out of there. That's nothing. That just, all those little black specks in there, that's what they're like, the black specks on a frying pan. It's all flavor. We're about 100 degrees here. We need to get about 350. Okay, almost there. We're at 200 degrees and oh, see, I like using previously used oil. I can smell already what this bird's going to taste like, and you're going to love it. We're at 210. We want to wait till we get about 350, and then we'll be #1 on the runway for sure. Okay, we're not quite 350 degrees, but I'd say we're close enough. Now, this has been going on here for about 25 minutes it took for this much oil to get that hot. As you can take a look in the pan, I don't know if we didn't really mark it, but I can tell. You see a little line down in there? That's original. That's how much that peanut oil expanded. That's why that displacement method is always a good little trick to learn when you're first starting out with this. Now, here we go. We're ready to rock and roll. First thing you want to do, lower your heat down a little bit, because we're going to jack it back up. This is another good safety precaution. Just lower your heat down. Good oven mitt, good to have. Now, this is crucial. Here we go. Slowly, we want to put our bird in here. Let's take this guy out. You ready? Here we go. Slowly we go in. Bring it there. See how fast that's moving? Don't drop it in yet. Let it sit a bit. Bring it in. Pull it up. Bring it in. Pull it up. Bring it in. Good idea is let that cavity fill up. You see that? Let that cavity fill up. You're searing the outside right now. That oil is moving out all that water inside this bird. Okay? Slowly. Be real careful. And I think we can go all the way down with it. Now you're going to get some splatter, which is a good idea to lift it back up, lower your heat down some more. It's really coming out of that. It's going to take a little second here before things settle down. Again, a good idea to have a board. See that splatter? You don't want to have anybody. This is not as dangerous as it looks. It's going to settle down there in just a second. Okay, you're off and running. We got our bird frying. We just put it in. We lowered our heat before we put it in. And we're just kind of letting things settle down. As you can let a little spurt there. That's okay. We want to regulate our heat. We're at 300. So that temperature dropped from 350 to 300. That's a significant drop in temperature. Now slowly increase your heat, keeping an eye on your thermometer. We want to be at about 325. 350 is ideal, but sometimes it's hard to get that 350. So you'll find a comfortable halfway point between 300 and 350. That's fine. You don't have to alternate your cooking times at all. All right, for you experts out there that have done this already, I didn't forget about that neck. Let me get a better handle on it. I'm going to drop him right in there. I'll eat him later. Okay, we're about 5 minutes into this now. It's always a good idea to remember your start time. Remember, we're at 3.5 minutes a pound, 325, so roughly about 45 minutes. Keep it. I like to use my little pages to put my time on here. A clock or a stopwatch, anything you have around the house is a good idea. And we're good to go. Time for something cold to drink, what do you say? Every once in a while, just to kind of pull it up, kind of check on it a little bit. Don't worry about if your meat pulls down from your legs. That's fine. Most turkeys will do that. Got a little snack coming up here. That'll be ready in about 5 minutes. Sure smells good. I'm getting a little hungry too. That's why I always like to save that guy. We got about 25 minutes or so for cooking time on the big bird. Meantime, we could be snacking. Look how crispy that came out. That's nice. Okay, we're about, let's say about 15-20 minutes from our original cooking time. As you can see, I've been keeping a real eye on my heat here. We're up to 350. I'm just going to back that down a little bit. Just a little bit. This is also key in regulating your heat. Between 325 and 350 is ideal. If you can't get it to that, between 300 and 325 is fine. Anything lower than 300, you want to crank up the heat, bring it back up. Oh, listen to that. Anything higher than 350, you want to back it down. Right about 350 is exactly where we want to be. Taking a look at our clock, we're about 15 minutes away from go time. Okay, we're about 5 minutes away from pulling this bird out. A couple things you want to check for. Lightness of the oil. It's still rolling pretty good, but it has settled down a whole lot more since we first put that bird in. Things to look for. Let's pull it up a little bit here. Oh, looking good. Now I'm doing this with my fingers. I've done this before. This is very hot. Please be careful. Crispiness. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look, just crunches, crunches. That skin is so crispy, it's crunching like bacon right now. Leg separation, everything's standing out. Crunching the skin. Good colorization on the inside of the cavity. Let's put her back in there, let her swim. 5 minutes, we're ready to pull this baby. Okay, this turkey's been going for 3.5 minutes per pound. It's an 11-pound bird. We've been going about 43, 44 minutes. I threw in an extra 5 minutes just for safety purposes. It's a good idea for you to do that too. It's ready to go. First thing to do, turn off your gas. Oh, it got real quiet in here, didn't it? Make sure all your valves are off. Here we go. Lifting our bird up. Let's give it plenty of time to drain. It smells great. Smells great. Okay, let's put it on our plate. Now, if you're doing this for a lot of people, and you've got a kitchen full, and you've got an oven that's just filled with sweet potatoes and green beans and all, it's a good idea to just let it rest out here for the next 15-20 minutes. And don't mind picking off the Pope's nose if you want. If you want to pick out some skin, it's quite all right. Another good idea too is to get something else to drink, relax, tell some stories. The best thing about deep fried turkeys is you don't have to eat them hot. The longer they sit out, it's something about the flavor intensifies. It's good hot or cold. If you have a lot of meat left over, don't be afraid to cut it in half, put it in a bag, put it in your freezer. It keeps great in a freezer. It'll keep up to about a week in your refrigerator too. What we're going to do now, I just let her sit about 15-20 minutes, take it inside, tear it apart, and have fun. Okay, here we are. We've made it home. We've taken you from equipment to displacement to marinate to shooting it up, the actual fry time. Actually, we did pretty good with this bird. This one went about 40-44 minutes. Again, you want to give it another extra 5 minutes just to ensure safety. Now, notice how crispy this is, and give you an idea just how juicy this is. And we've let this rest now for about 15-20 minutes. I'm going to cut that back and look at all that wonderful juice. There's still a good bit of steam coming out of there. Let's see what our breast meat looks like. Oh yeah. You can see our points of entry with our merit. Look at all that nice. Oh boy, there's a good juicy, succulent on the inside, crispy. Listen to that. Oh. Ah. Mmm. Well, I don't know what you're doing, but I know what I'm doing. It'd be a good idea for me to get something else to drink right about now. Well, happy frying. Hope you enjoy. Remember, safety first, and always have fun.